Yo, Casey, how's it going, bro?
Julian, what's going on, man? Good to see you, buddy.
I'm doing good. It's good to see you too, man.
Yeah.
Tell me, man, I believe that we started working together in the end of August. I was about to go on a cruise like the
hmm
next couple days, right?
hmm
I remember you like get to sit on it for a night. I was like, please don't have any nightmares, right? And now
Yeah.
fast forward to now it's January 1st. How has your business changed since we first started working together?
All right. So business has changed a lot for me in a lot of good ways. One, I'm making more money, but on top of that, the biggest problem I used to have was structure. I was scrambling a lot. I was going project to project, only booking like 3 days out. It was messy. It was just saying yes to any and every dollar that tended to come my way. And it was not a great way to live. I was more than getting by, but I was like, this is not sustainable for the long term. And so I would say the best way that business has changed is it's created more. I've created more income and a lot more consistent income. And I've done well enough that I've fired a lot of clients that I didn't really want to work with anymore, but I used to need back in the day. And so it's definitely given me a better handle and a better control on what's going on in my life and my business.
Bro, that's awesome. Firing clients is a good feeling, honestly,
Yeah.
because we feel like we need them and we just put up with so much. But once we have you know, once we start to see our worth and have options, it's like it makes no sense for us to have that headache. That's why we
Yeah.
decided not to have bosses, right? Like that's awesome, bro.
Yeah, it feels fantastic to fire some clients, when the people before who used to run you into the ground and not want to listen to your advice, and they call you up for a project expecting you to jump at it, and you're like, no, man, I'm busy. I've got other stuff going on, but I'll get back to you next week, as my schedule clears up. And so that's a good feeling to be able to, to have that control over your own life and your own business.
Yeah, 100%. So how much have you made since we started working together?
Since we started working together, if I pull up totals here, I am at about 29.5. That's 29,500 since I got on board with you.
Wow. So 29,500. That's about a 6x from your initial investment. Tell me about like that process. Like, how are you able to get to that point of collecting that much cash? And was it like about 4 or 5 months?
Yeah. It's been about 4 months, and more of it definitely is a snowball effect because it took me previously, like one of my big problems, like I said, is that I was just saying yes to everything. And now, I mean, when I came to you, I originally said, I've got talent with shooting, writing, editing. I've got all that, but my business structure is just absolutely, effed. Like I don't have a system in place. And getting on board with you, you really plugged me into a system that just it I just needed to be plugged into somebody's system that would help me make sense of the business world. I started slow in my first couple of months. I took a handful, I took a lot of clients that were, cheaper just to get the ball rolling, just so I could, put people on my team and say, hey, look, guys, we're busy, we're in demand. And then as that snowball started rolling up and more people started, seeing what was going on, seeing my consistent posting, seeing me pop up all over on other people's social channels, then the phone started ringing more and more. I mean, I've put two more clients under contract, who are under retainer in the last 3 or 4 days, just surprise calls, people who decided to ditch who else they were working with in town and come on board with me. And so it's definitely a snowball effect. The more, the busier you get, the higher quality, the more your name shows up in conversation around town. Quickly, the snowball rolls up in a hurry. And I think I'm just, I don't even think we're not anywhere near peaked yet. We're just catching momentum, and I expect big things are coming down the road.
Bro, this is just a start. Like, I think this entire decade is going to be people focused on content and building their brands, especially with AI coming, right? With a lot of jobs being automated
Yeah.
and with the growth of like social media and TikTok, like being in front of people consistently and showing like what you're expert at and showing your personality and how authentic you are. I think
Mhm.
that is what this entire decade is going to be about. And the people who position themselves beforehand, right? Those are going to be people who, reap all the rewards. Because think about it. What were you offering before versus now? Right? I mean, it's all content, but the framing is different and you're going from a different way. It's like, hey, I can help you build your brand. So tell me about that. Like, as far as what you're offering, how has that changed? What benefit do you see in what you're offering now?
So the biggest thing that I see now, like the biggest advantage for me personally, has been leverage. When you start storytelling, when you start putting out consistent content, when your clients are putting out consistent content, it builds a lot of leverage for you personally. I definitely think I 100% agree with you that, the know, like, and trust factor. Before I was just putting out photos and then you're kind of a delivery boy. People think that they can snap your fingers and you'll show up whenever you want to, and it's fine. The money is okay, but you're always at somebody else's disposal, kind of. If you can't show up, they'll replace you with somebody else. And the biggest thing that focusing on brand for me personally, people have noticed, when people start seeing my clients put, their stories out there, their content is higher quality, they're showing up in more places, they're having, I can look at my view numbers versus, they can look at the view numbers that they're getting and the connections they're making, as opposed to, before, when they're just putting out Canva graphics, or they're putting out, very basic content. The impact is massive. Like I said, I'm just getting started with my business in, only a few months deep in this regard. And I see other clients who are doing the same thing. They're watching their views spike. They're giving people a reason to show up and pay attention. Uh, the biggest thing that I notice with them is, like, they're realizing the power of brand and storytelling. They're realizing that, rather than just posting billboards, posting Canva graphics, that kind of boring stuff, when you help them figure out a structure where they're storytelling, where they're inviting people in to follow them on their journey, and they're consistently giving out value, they're consistently, giving people something to watch that is a narrative that they're watching, they're allowing people to peek in at their lives and see what's, they're inviting people along for the journey. And that's the big thing that I think is the change for the coming decade. Is it used to be people worked in silence, and then you just, said, oh, we've made a lot of sales. But there's kind of a wall there between, the personal and the professional life. And as people figure out how to tiptoe on that line a little bit, how to be professional but still relatable, I think they're just cluing into the power of that it's so much more watchable than just, putting out house videos that no one, maybe somebody clicks through it, maybe somebody watches a house video, but at the same time, there's no story. They don't remember the agents.
Hmm.
So that's in all of that rambling there. That's the change that I think they're realizing, is the power of brand and storytelling to help them make them memorable and, like, plant them in their community.
Yeah, like I don't know when the switch happened, but there was obviously a switch. And for some reason, we just trust people so much when we see them consistently because we don't know them per se, or maybe we do know them,
Mhm.
but they have such an advantage over someone who's just completely offline. I mean, obviously, like word of mouth and referral, that's super powerful, right? But to have a consistent inbound and to make it just so much easier to sell, right? Like, have you had any instances where, because of the content you're putting out, that you're able to like close a deal or have a client reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I What's impressed me is people come to my page and they see, I've got the high end graphics. There's impact there. They land on my page just the same way that you got me. I've told you that before. I landed on your page and I was like, wow, the content production is good. The thumbnails look great. I want to know what this person has going on, because it's one of those things that we like to pretend that, we like to pretend that we're not that shallow, but there's an emotional impact that comes with high quality content that is, that's impactful, that looks pretty. It sells people on an emotional level. And, people come to my page, they see the high end stuff, it looks nice, and they're curious about it. And then they start, hopping into my stories, and they see, me and the family, me and the dog, me just kind of talking and hanging out. and they don't realize it, but inside their brain, they're getting to know me. Like they're building up that know, like, and trust factor where even though they haven't face to face with me, people will hop in my DMs and they're talking to me like they've known me for a long time. And it is impressive, and it's almost worrying sometimes because I'm like, these people don't actually, we've never actually hung out, but they still are talking to me like, like we're old friends. And as people figure that out, I think there's going to be a storm. There's going to be a rush as people you know, learn to focus on brand and like their personality more.
Yeah, because presentation does matter. Like you
Yeah.
said, like it is a vanity thing. It is vain, but it's the truth. And because we all have the ability to create content through our phones, I think that when something is better quality and more high production, those people stand out, right?
Yeah.
And that's why people are willing to pay us because number one, they can't do those things themselves. Like the best they could do is a ring light. You
Yeah.
know, and maybe some cheap like mics from Amazon, but they don't really know like how to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's why this opportunity is so great because number one, like people are selling for us, like especially like we're in real estate media, right? So we've shared content before with real estate coaches talking about, hey, you need to make content, right? You need to
Mhm.
put yourself out there, and then they're selling for us, and like so they know they need to do it, but then they try and it might look like crap, it might sound like crap, or they try to do some stupid trend, or it's just a market update, which they're all doing. So we say, hey, we can come to you and we can help you with the topics, we can script them, we'll come to you, shoot it all in one day, and we'll edit it, and we'll even post it for you, right? And they're
Yeah.
like, oh my god, like this is godsend.
Yeah,
Right?
that has been the biggest thing that I have noticed is that people like, I've gotten into conversations and people will say, "Oh, I can make content on my phone." And the rebuttal is always, "Okay, but are you doing it?" Because there's so many barriers there, like can you script? Can you make it look nice? Can you B-roll? Can you add music? Do you know what's actually working? And so like people will try to, people are always intending to make content, but they're not usually actually following through with it. And so it is such, I think once they connect that, they try for a little while and it doesn't come through. And then like when they make that connection of, okay, every single sale that I make, as an agent is worth what in commission, 15, 20, if luxury agents, some of them are putting away $240,000 of commission in a single sale. They're like, why am I arguing price and wasting time when this other person can come to me and handle all of this for me? Like once they make that connection of how many sales they're missing out on potentially, just from wasting time trying to do it to themselves, like you said, it sells itself and it only makes sense as soon as they can come to trust you. As soon as they like build some belief in you, like there's no reason. Like there's a gold rush out there.
Exactly. And we are providing the shovels, right? So
Yeah.
it's the gold rush content, branding, that's the gold rush. But we are providing the shovels. And we have it made, bro, because we get to double end it, right? So
Mhm.
like we do things for them, but we also do things for us because we build our brands to attract them, to educate them. So that makes us more valuable and we
Mhm.
get paid to do it for other people. So
Yeah.
I think we have it like the best because we can execute it on both sides. Granted, I don't like always being in front of the camera, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes I have trouble. It's so much easier for me to make you look pretty, Casey, than to make myself look pretty because I have to get up, look at the camera, make sure the lighting's good. Like it's so much easier just to like sit behind the camera and hit record, right? But
Yeah.
once I flipped it around, number one, I got more comfortable and I was
Mhm.
able to give better advice to people too. And number two, it's just like I was able to put myself out there and that made me more of an authority. So
Yeah.
it's always about like you have to just step outside your comfort zone. But I think us as content creators, as videographers, as video production companies, like we have the best opportunity right now, hands down.
Yeah. Yeah. Our work is our marketing. And so it's phenomenal in that. Even if I'm trying to bring new clients in, I'll give away if somebody looks high value or I see potential for them in the future, it'll blow them away that I'll be like, yeah, I'll set a shoot up for you, or we'll go out and we'll shoot some B-roll together, and they're blown away that I'll give it to them just as a relationship building tool. But it doesn't, it's no sweat off my back because they're already in a high value position, and I'm just, taking advantage of their network. And so like it's we're in a very, very good position in that regard.
Yeah, for sure, bro. So tell me, what do you think about the entire process since you've joined? Like, do you think it's so simple that anyone who has the skill set can follow and get success with it?
In that regard, like the key word I would say that you just put out there is if you already have the skill set. Um, like for me, my big struggle, like I said, is I already had the writing and the filmmaking. I'd been doing that for a long time, but I didn't have a structure. And so if there's anybody out there who is struggling, who has the skill set but is still, freaking broke or whatever, I would definitely say they should get on board. Like there's a better structure and a better way to do things. And like, my life, my money, everything has gotten better and gotten simpler. I've slowed down and I'm making more money. And the free time allows me to actually think about where I'm trying to invest my time and energy because I'm not scrambling every single day trying to, deliver listings the next day and like all of that kind of madness. And so 100%, I would say that people who it is simple, it's effective, and like if you have the skill sets but just don't have the structure, I think it's a very smart choice. Like, I mean, I recouped my investment with you, in the first 3 weeks easily, and then from there it's only snowballed up.
Man, that's insane. Because when I first started this, obviously it was like, hey, I did this for me, and in theory, it should work for you, right?
Mhm,
Like if I were in Atlanta, I know I could have the same offer and do well, right? But the
mhm,
fact that you and so many others have like implemented it and seen results, right? That
mhm,
just like brings me so much joy because I know for myself, once I finally started to make like a good amount of money,
mhm.
I was like, wow, life is good. It's so much more fulfilling than having a job. And there's no job that will give you that type of pay raise.
Yeah,
There's no one that's going to do that. Like, hey,
yeah,
okay, today you're making 5,000 a month. Okay. Hey, boss, can you give me double that? No, it's
yeah.
just not going to happen.
Yeah. I always look at that, like I always laugh. There's Instagrammers that I like to watch where they talk about you need to trade jobs every 2 years, to get a 10% pay raise, to make 10,000, to make 15,000 more. And it's like when those numbers seem very far away and kind of insignificant when you figure out a structure that works and you're like, okay, I've got the pieces in place. Now, what do I need to do that, when you can look on the horizon and say, okay, I can see this money is good, but I can see a future where in 6 months I'm making 4 times that. And so, and the opportunity is out there right now. Like I said, I don't know if, I don't know if it will be how many years in the future, but right now, like, I mean, it's so new and it's so early. There's so much opportunity that's just sitting there. And like, there's not a lot of us out there right now. There's a lot of creative people, but there's not a lot of like creative and structured people who can run a business. And so it is wide, the F open right now.
Yeah, like it used to be you have a marketing agency that would hire creative agencies and they'd come together.
Hmm.
Now it's merging. So if you have a video production company, right, and you can provide content, all you have to do now is just add the social media aspect because social media is marketing, right? And then once you get a little more advanced, then you can add ads to it, right? But it's all about like I consider myself like a marketer with a camera nowadays, not
Yeah.
just like a videographer because I'm not the most techie person. Like I shoot in like standard a lot of times because it's quicker. I'm not focused on like log. Like for my own stuff, I'll deal with log and being more cinematic. But for business, it's about how fast can I turn this around while keeping quality the same. It's about being efficient. So the
Yeah.
people who can execute and be efficient and be smart, that's how you run a business. And then we learn how to delegate, right? Like at first, we're sitting down trying to edit videos ourselves. But once you find the editor, it's like, wow, life is a lot easier.
Hmm.
Like I used to be so nervous to hire an editor. I was like, they're not going to be as good as me. right? Honestly, they ended up being better because I don't my entire style, I don't want to learn how to make animated captions or like funny sound effects and memes. Like that's not my style, bro. But
Mhm,
if that's what the market wants, let me hire someone who's good at that. And that way I can just increase volume. And then next, okay, let me get a VA who can post for me. Or let me get a second shooter who could shoot for me. So that's like at first it's like, okay, we're freelancers, we work by ourselves. But as
mhm,
we start to get these monthly contracts, we can start to plan ahead. Now we can start to hire people.
mhm.
So
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, I used to be the same way that I had this thing in my head. I don't know if it was an insecurity or whatever, but I was like, oh, no one could do what I do, you know? Like, I mean, I'm that special. And then like you put somebody on your team and they're not expensive, you know, especially for the amount of time you receive back. And then you start sending videos off and they come back and you're like, oh, not only are people as good as me, they're actually better, you know? And the amount of time that frees up for you to go out and do other stuff, you know, rather than shoot for one day and edit for a week, you know, I can shoot every day of the week and then take 5, 10% of those profits, you know, it, just simplify your life, make better content, and then have more free time to reinvest either in your own life or back into the business. Like it doesn't make sense to not build a team around you once you realize how easy it is and how it's not that expensive by comparison.
exactly, bro. Especially being in America, like at this point, most entrepreneurs and business owners know that they can get editing for really cheap now. They
Mm-hmm.
can go to Upwork, they can use AI. So being an editor in America, you're gonna go broke because people are going overseas, right, to get
Mm-hmm.
editors. And it's not like we're taking advantage of them. It's just smart because number one, our dollar goes farther, and number two, they appreciate it because for them, you know, our dollar is more valuable. So it's an equal exchange. Why would I pay someone here $200 for an edit, $500 for a single edit? Because that's what I used to charge. Like my hourly rate was pretty high, right? But
Yeah.
now it's like I can't command that price anymore just for editing. So
Mm-hmm.
in order to succeed now as a video production company, like you have to know number one, how to delegate, how to, you know, outsource, and just how to be smarter, like overall with your business. Like that's the only way to grow now.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, one of the funniest things that I have seen is when you have it structured correctly, the way, like, the biggest issue that I used to have is somebody would call you up with a project or whatever, you know, and then they'd have a budget of like $600. And then because you don't have a better thing to show them or tell them, you know, you just have to take it and then, you know, try to figure it out. The biggest thing that I've seen in the last, I had a client call me up 2 weeks ago who said they wanted to spend $10,000 across an entire year. And I said, well, pause. What if we did this instead? What if I can get you all of these things, this many videos, high quality edits, you know, some extra footage, drone footage, B-roll or whatever, you know, and I can get you all of those things for, you know, three times that every single month. And they say yes to it. You know, like before they had a budget of $600 a month. And then when you can show them a better way and like demonstrate the value or whatever, suddenly they don't have $600 a month. Suddenly they have $2,000 a month because you've got like, and you never, if you don't have the structure there that's laid out, like you're always just taking orders. But if you've got, you know, if you've got the structure in place where you can demonstrate the value, you know, you can double and triple what some of these people are saying they're willing to spend.
Exactly, because we have to educate them. Because it's like, hey, how much does a social media manager cost? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. That's that salary. How much does a video editor cost? Okay, that's that salary. How much does a copywriter cost? Okay, that's that salary. How much does video production cost? Okay, put it all together. You can't afford that. But what you can afford is me, who will do it all for you for, you know, a fraction of the price. Because
Yeah.
at first, when they say $600 budget, they're just strictly thinking about video,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now
Uh-huh.
it's about putting all the pieces together. That's like the ultimate strategy now. But tell me, how has being a part of a community helped you? Because I know you're very active in the community, and I
Mm-hmm.
know seeing guys like Sev and other guys crush it. I know that really motivated you. So tell me about that.
Yeah, it is. It's very cool. Like, I mean, being a freelancer, especially when you're disconnected from other people, is lonely as shit, man. Like it's, you're always trying to scramble and pay the bills, and you're always wondering, like, is there a better way to do this? But I signed on with you guys, and then, like, I saw Sev was crushing it, and so anytime I'd wake up in the morning with any doubt in my head, I was like, I could look at Sev and be like, well, Sev said he, already signed 3 clients this week or something, and so, why can't, when you see somebody right there in front of you who already has it figured out, and you can like riff off of them, because I mean, like in the community, we don't directly, if we have problems, we can ask the community and like bounce the conversation back and forth, and that always helps. But it's also, I mean, you can just look at the other guys on the team and say, okay, here's an ad that he's running, 3,000 miles away from me. I'm not going to take his exact phrasing because he doesn't sound like me, but I see what he's doing and I see that it works. So why don't I take that format, take the lesson that he's already figured out, and just integrate it myself? And that's so much easier. It's so much, I don't know, you pay either way you pay, you pay in time or you pay in money. And it's so much simpler to just do what is already demonstrably working in front of you and just go ahead and reap the benefits than rather than starting from ground zero all the time.
Exactly. That's why I call it the dream team, because it's us against the world. So we pull resources from each other. It's like if I see you do a good ad, if I see Sev, if I see Chitty, if I see Matt do a good ad, I'm probably gonna use it for my own ad, right? But I'm
Mhm.
gonna tweak some things so that's a little different. But like you said, it's a wide open market. So it's like we are the people who are taking over. Because when I first started, there was like no one. There's
Yeah.
maybe like 3 guys in the whole country, it felt like, that were that were doing this, right? And I had
Mhm.
people reaching out to me from all over. Some people actually like flew to me, and it's
Mhm.
still open now because I started off in real estate media, you started from real estate media, but you're
Mhm.
working with people who aren't in real estate, right?
Yeah.
So just think about all the different businesses that could benefit from this, and we control the rate. So, and one
Mhm.
thing I love about short form and monthly content packages is that it allows us to collect so much data at a exponential rate so that we
Mhm.
can improve faster. So before it's like one video at a time. It's like, no, we're doing 8, 12, 20 videos at a time. So we
Mhm.
can analyze and see, okay, this worked, this didn't work, this worked, this didn't work. And now we have a portfolio. Like I have like thousands of videos as a portfolio, which is
Mhm.
nuts to me. That's
Yeah.
like so insane because they're little shorts, but like every time I made sure to get better, right? So with you, I know because you're very analytical. You're good at dissecting. I know you're looking like, why did this hook do better than this
Mhm.
one? Why was this shot like this? Why didn't this perform? Why did this perform? And then you get to say, okay, this still works. This is the best strategy moving forward.
Mhm. Yeah. The amount of speed is awesome. Like your ability to like you said, test a lot of things in a hurry. Like, and there's so many different industries that you can work in. Like, right now I've got a roofer that's coming on. I've got lawyers that that are reaching out. I've got several real estate agents. I try to like my foundation is in real estate, and so I keep my page focused there. But it doesn't, and like I want to be stable there so that people feel like I'm the expert in the arena. But when you walk into any other business, and say, hey, just look at my quality, look at what I'm doing for them, look at my feedback, all of that stuff. You can take it and transfer it into any bit, any high ticket business that, that has a marketing budget. And a lot of times that's the smart thing to do because, like I said, it's so wide open right now. There's there's other people, like, I mean, I've got other marketers that are in my town, but they just can't keep up. Like their quality isn't there. They don't, they're 5 to 10 years behind. And so, like, if you've got the skill set and you've got, if you can take a skill set and pair it with a structure, you can, I mean, you can go out and just, collect checks all day long. I mean, it is one of those things. It is such a wide open market right now that depending on, how good it stops being about finding clients and becomes a system of, okay, how do I actually operate a business? And that's been an interesting change for me. Is like, okay, I am needing a VA. I do need more editors, and I need to like put systems in place because I'm not just editing, I'm not just delivering. Now I've got to figure out how to actually manage and run a business.
Yeah, exactly. Because number one, it's such a blue ocean opportunity, like you said. So there's not a lot of competition, and we're saving people time, which
Mhm.
is the most valuable. That's more valuable than money, right?
Exactly.
As far as like running a business, when we decide to go on this journey of entrepreneurship, it's like we're becoming like extra adulting. Like when you work a 9 to 5, yes, you're an adult. Yes, you're paying bills, but you also have daddy boss who's like funding it for you, right? Now,
Hmm.
as bosses, it's like, do we want to do this stuff? No. Like it's a lot of work. Like I'm sure you would rather not have to delegate, not have to hire people, and not have to pay attention to so much, but it's what we have to do. But once you figure that out,
Hmm.
it gets a lot easier because then
Yeah.
you start to get your time back. It's just figuring those things out and actually like taking action and making it work. It
Hmm.
takes work, but like, bro, like I think about this all the time. Like I'm being in like an extra adult because adulting is already hard. Like I like being a kid, you can just do whatever, not have to worry about anything. As
Hmm.
an adult, we always have to work, pay bills, IRS, all that stuff. But as business owners, we have to make sure we pay the IRS. We have to make sure we save money. We have to make sure we're always prospecting because if we don't, we could lose clients, things could stop. So
Hmm.
that's the journey we're on. But I think it's so fulfilling and so worth it because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I can wake up when I want to. I don't have a boss. If there's a client I don't vibe with anymore, sorry, it was nice working with you, but we're stopping here,
Yeah.
right? Like that's just how it is.
But yeah, 100% on that. Like it is weird. If you work a job, you do always, you're leaning on a structure that somebody else has built. And so like I've never thought about it as like extra adulting, but that really does is what it becomes is, you like everything lands on you. And it certain times it's kind of, it's terrifying. It's I would say it's ennobling. It is nice. I was that's funny you should say that. And I know I'm rambling now, but like I used to be a terrible person 5 years ago when I worked a job for somebody else because like if there was something I didn't want to do, I could just kind of be like a soft, weak person and like, use red tape and complain or say, we'll circle back to that. And there's none of that anymore. And like it feels actually really good to know that everything that happens around me is if it works or if it doesn't work, it's all on me.
Yep.
And like that has been a very cool feeling that like, I have had to figure out, okay, I'm going to cut a hard break at night. I am off and in bed at 9 p.m. because I need to be up at 5 if I'm going to make it to the coffee shop by 6 to get all of the pre-work done by 10 and then get home and let the dog out. And like, it is 100%, making the whole life system work. It is entirely on me these days. And I think that some people would probably shy away from that, but I do think that it is if you accept it and you get excited about it, like I mean, it's just extra traction. It's like it's like weighting down a truck. You're just more in contact with the ground, and you just like all of that horsepower has to go somewhere. It's one of those things I think you grow with the stress level that comes from it.
100%. Like it's a complete personal development journey. Like you take cold plunges, right?
Yeah.
I highly doubt you'd be doing that if you just went to a normal 9 to 5. Like, why would you need that type of, motivation, discipline? No, you do that because you have to tackle the day.
Hmm.
I know I have to have good habits. Sometimes I fall out. And then one
Yeah.
of those times I fall out, okay, I'm not reaching out to people, right? I'm not, being the best, I'm not delivering the best to the community, right? I'm just slowing down. And then what does that do? Now less income, right? So it's like, shit, if this is the life I want, right? Like I have to be disciplined. I have to have good health because this is a marathon.
Hmm.
And even now it's like I'm at a point where it's like I want to get to a higher echelon, right? Like I want to break through my previous barriers. So what does that mean? Okay, now I have to have a team in place. And now I have an appointment setter who I'm paying, I have a VA who I'm paying. I just hired a closer, right? So now I have this team of people who are depending on me. And like, shit, now you're depending on me. So it's like I have to be accountable, right? Like when
Yeah.
I have like the one-on-one calls, it's like it's at 7 a.m. or something. It's like, well, I guess I have to get up. I can't sleep. So it's like we have to do these things, and there's no one who can tell us to do who can tell us to do it. It's like we have to do it ourselves. But I think that's the cool thing about entrepreneurship and having a business, right? And having this opportunity too, because we know that our efforts and all the skills that we're developing are going to compound, they're going to snowball, and we have a great vehicle, right? So when you have a great vehicle, which is the offer, it's like
Mhm.
that's what's going to, help us get to our destination faster. So that's
Mhm.
why number one, having like a business through the internet, it's like if you don't have that today, in some sort, if you're not marketing on social media, you're getting left behind because it's all about the vehicle. And for
Mhm.
us, like you said, it's a blue ocean, not a lot of competition. This is the perfect vehicle for us to, get to those goals. Because right now you're pushing like you're crossing 10K and you want to get to like the 30K mark. Once you hit 30K, it's like, okay, what's next? Right?
Mhm.
Because that 30K, you still could be doing a lot by yourself, right?
Mhm.
Maybe you have two people. But if you want complete business where, hey, okay, maybe I'm making 60% profit, but I have a team and I don't have to do anything, right? That's when you get to like those 50K, 100K months. But it's all part of the process, bro.
Yeah, no, like it's a very cool feeling to like you said before, that it all lands on you. Like if you're doing the entrepreneurship thing, there is no floating. If you work a job, if you work in somebody else's business, you can roll out of bed and get to work late and get by as long as you don't mess up too badly. But when you are doing the entrepreneurship thing and you mean it, you have to be awake. I mean, every day you have to like show up and like be thinking, you have to be alert to the world around you in a way that you don't have to be otherwise. And it comes down to, I think the winners at the end of the day are the people who can solve the most problems. Whoever can come up with the structure. Uh, and like I said, and that's the big thing that, like I said, I originally took from you was just like the fact that I was scrambling before, but when you show up with the vehicle, when you show up with the offer, you have a scaffolding to work from. Like I mean, I've taken it and I've tweaked things along the way. Like I've found higher ticket offers that people will pay more for, but I've also got lower tier clients where I was like, before when I started with you, it was like, okay, yeah, I want to make, I would offer 4 videos a month or whatever, but they didn't want to pay the full price for that. And I was like, okay, what if I make a different offer that's, 1 video a month, but like, 7 video B-roll clips or whatever that cost me no time at all. And then, and it's so useful to have that vehicle and that scaffold there just to start from, because it's very hard to start from zero. But like the big thing I got from you with that was just the fact that, here's a template that works, and then tweak it, based on your situation, and, deliver to your market in your area. And it just works. It works so well.
Yeah, it really does, man. So tell me, what would be your best advice for someone who's thinking about joining the Dreamers Academy?
So my best advice would be, if you are that person who has the skills, if you are a creative, if you're a creator, if you've been scrambling around, I would say buy into the structure. You probably don't need more video, you don't need more courses, you don't need to waste time figuring out. Your clients don't care about color grading. They don't care about all these other things. Get on board with, buy into a structure that clients want, because there is a gold rush that's out there. And so like find a way to make it work, like get out of the scarcity mindset of, oh, this is costing me money. Because like, I mean, if you're somebody who is motivated and serious about it, like I said, I've recouped my money, that I used to buy in a matter of weeks. And since then, it has only snowballed up, improved my life. And like, just the whole structure of my business, it just continuously gets better. And so I would say don't hesitate. If something is going to make you money and you feel confident in it and you see people having success with it and giving it good feedback, stop pinching the pennies on it and just buy into the structure that works.
Love that, bro. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. It was a really good one.
Yeah, sure thing, man. It was you guys are you guys is it cold over there? You're in California, so it doesn't get too cold, does it?
It's cold for me.
Yeah. Cold,
It's,
cold
it's
enough
cold for
anyway.
me, and it's raining. So what's next for you? Like, what are your what? It's what's the day? It's the January 2nd, right?
Mhm.
So what is your 3 month goal?
I would say the 3 month goal is want I see a very near future where there's 20K months. And like I said, the snowball is just in my first couple of months, I gave a lot of stuff away and I had a little bit of insecurity about that. But the more I give away, like I said, our work is our marketing. And as I continue to snowball, like all of that is coming back to me now. Like I said, I had a shot, I gave away a shoot in month two. That just today I got a call, from the woman who said, "Hey, I think I'm going to bail out on my current guy. Do you have space on your team?" And so like I I would say in 3 months I want my minimum to be at 20K, but if I can figure out a better structure, which is we're always trying to find that better structure and that better bigger system, uh there's plenty of leeway beyond that. But I would say my 3 month goal is to be sitting at 20K a month. But we'll see what problems I have to solve along the way to get there.
Yeah, you could, bro. You could. That's easy money. I think number one, you should start asking for referrals. So like, say, hey, I'll give you X amount of videos for referral if you referred me someone, right? And
Mhm.
number two, once those ads get dialed in, that's gonna really crush for you.
Yeah, like, and that is something that like I got sloppy on my end. My ad, like the ads, I got good feedback on, and I've had leads come in from, but they were not my focus because I got, the quality of the offer was such that, I got busy without focusing on too much on them. But, the ones I have put in have brought in followers and has brought in money. And so as that continues to grow, like I've got confidence that that's going to continue to spiral up as well.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm here for, bro. To help. Yeah. Well, cool. Thank you so much, Casey.